was thinking about just how in life, you know, the lessons that you learn and how life teaches you who people are, right? And how you learn from other people how to be and how not to be. You know, you're always learning from the data that you get from your life experience. And so, you know, it's always a lesson in everything. Because I think a lot of times we just want to take the good out of life. And, you know, we want to make something of that. But it's like the negative or the part that we don't feel is pleasant in life, we don't want that. But it's like that's where there's value in that as well. There's value in everything in life. You know what I'm saying? In every lesson, in every experience. And we need to take it all in. You know what I'm saying? And learn from it all. So I just wanted to speak on that. What you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree that, you know, everything is data and not necessarily for you to judge whether it's good or bad. Of course, you know, you always want to determine what's good or bad for you, but look at things, you know, for what they are and consider, you know, how a person is behaving based on who they are, not based on you. And, you know, we all have our opinions, but we don't, without the full information, kind of like just making these assumptions. Sometimes, you know, we're not exactly in full knowledge about a subject until we do observe someone else and, you know, what we're picking up from them. So everything is an observation. I like to look at things as a scientist as opposed to the actual scientific experiment, you know.
Right.
We're always looking at what a person is doing to us as opposed to learning from the whole experience
and what we can get out of it.
What we can actually learn from it.
And what is bringing up in us.
What is bringing
like
up
that's
in
a
us.
lot of times.
Right.
I think the part is like, what is this bringing up in me?
Yeah.
And the value in that, because life is an experience. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be able to pull from your whole experience, because it's a whole experience. It's not a half experience. It's not a fragmented thing. It's this whole thing that you have to take and grow from. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because even with the things that we consider to be negative, there's a reason for it. And if you never examine that, you may be missing a growth opportunity.
Right.
And you may be missing out on something perhaps that has happened to you, you know, in your past that you're not considering, and, you know, bringing that
as to why this even came up.
It might be something that you can reconsider and no longer have it bring up anything in you. You know, or it could be changed from this quote unquote bad experience to just an experience.
Right.
So,
because most experiences, if not all, help us grow.
Right.
In some form or fashion, especially based on how you think about it. You know what I'm saying?
How you think about it. How you think about things can really be affecting your growth, and the very thing that you are wanting to progress to can be hindered by the way you're looking at something.
I was thinking about that recently, just how, I think we talked about it, just how every situation, you know what I'm saying, is like an opportunity for growth.
That's right.
Like everything, you know, and you can't just take the parts that feel good. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't all gonna be in there. And a lot of times, you know, you need that negative power to amplify you and catapult you to make certain moves, to you know what I'm saying, to kind of move a certain type of way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a battery needs both, right? So it's like we need both of those to get us to some destinations, you know. So you can't just want one and think that's going to give you the full potential of, you know, yourself.
Yeah, it's like, it's good with batteries. A good example. It's like too much of any of the positive or negative is not going to give you power. So,
and an example where people always thinking positive, all they want to do is the positive.
Toxic
there
positivity.
is a level of toxic positivity because, like, I've experienced that they just always want to be positive, and it's like you have no room to hold space for when it's not positive, when it doesn't feel good. So then you're just like this oblivious individual, la 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 la, even about yourself, and that's the hurtful part that can hinder you in life, because you don't want to avoid situations that don't feel good, because that shit is gonna crash down on you at some point,
and it's gonna cause your relationships to not develop and grow. Because even though you might be perceiving yourself as being positive, it doesn't necessarily mean that your positivity is the same effect, has the same effect on someone else.
Or it's for what's needed. For the growth of a situation. It ain't, positivity ain't always what's needed for the growth of a situation. You know what I'm saying? That every emotion and feeling needs
all of them.
They all need to, and like you gotta hold space for all of that. You can't just have room for the positivity and then nothing. Like, I could never really get with that whole thing when people was like, only positivity, and then like, that's not realistic.
And you know, I had to learn that for myself in situations where I would see people saying, well, you being negative, and I would try to figure out where's the negativity. Well, honestly speaking, it's just data that they perceive as negative, and I think we do that too much. We do too much judging about what a person is saying or doing without just considering it as them just being themselves. And sometimes you just, who cares what if it's positive or negative? Sometimes it's just information.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say about that. Just, it's like, first of all, we judge the word positive and negative. You know what I'm saying? Because things, something may be negative, but that don't mean that it ain't, it don't apply.
It's not useful.
It's not useful. You know what I'm saying? So we just, by judging those descriptional words and making them one good or one bad or this or that, it's like, no, they all are a part of this experience, and they both make up the whole. You know, and so,
and that prevents us in many cases from having the deeper conversation, because deeming something negative, and it ends at that point where there's nuances and details and a higher level of understanding on different topics. If you just hear people out, even if you consider them to be,
even if it brings something up in you, and if it brings something up in you, then that's something that you need to assess in you. Not assessing them, assess yourself. Why is it not shutting it down? Because you're shutting down yourself.
That's what
you know what I'm saying? And you don't want to shut yourself down. You want to be able to know thyself on all levels. You know what I'm saying? On all dimensions, every part of you. You know,
and those things ought to be just as important. You know, and those situations ought to be just as important as people, you know, patting you on the back, and telling you what a great job you're doing. Sometimes you need to sit with those feelings that
don't feel
great.
good, and be just as appreciative to life, like what you're saying. Like, thank you for making me aware of maybe something that I didn't even realize that I was doing.
Because we don't know, it all.
Or that I was negating.
And this human experience that's what it is. It's we, you know.